Welcome back, SmythOS enthusiasts. We are about to dive deep into the heart of SmythOS. In this video, we'll explore the SmythOS interface, learning about its key components and how they work together. We also hear from actual users about potential applications, giving you a taste of what's possible with this powerful tool. Let's join Mike as he guides us through the SmythOS landscape and shows us how to turn ideas into reality.
So the SmythOS interface, when you first log in, you have what will start off to be a blank screen here. You're seeing a bunch of agents, but at the end of the day, this will start off blank for you and then become something more.
As Mike demonstrates, SmythOS starts as a blank canvas, ready for you to create your own AI-powered solutions. Let's see what tools SmythOS provides to help you get started.
Then we have, for example, templates. Templates are a fantastic way to get started, to actually search for maybe something that you're interested in.
Templates are a great way to jumpstart your projects, but SmythOS offers much more. Let's hear about some other key features.
Subdomains are actually used to publish your agents to a URL that matches with what you are doing.
Subdomains allow you to deploy your agents professionally. Mike will now explain another crucial component, the vault.
These templates we will go over in detail, and we will actually try and use a template as we go forward. But I wanted you to see that. Then we have something called subdomains. Subdomains are actually used to publish your agents to a URL that matches with what you are doing inside of SmythOS, to publish it on your domain. So for example, let's say you are IBM and you use SmythOS, and you're going to actually use this agent and you're going to publish it to be in production. You will actually, for example, have my chatbot, or my customer service chatbot.agents.ibm.com, and obviously you would replace something like that for you. These are what are called CNAME records, so they're not, you don't have to stand up a server or anything. Smith takes care of all that for you, but that's what subdomains are for. The vault is the very important one that we talked about earlier, where you need to actually add your information in for example, AI or Claude or Grok. That will be your LLM to use, and you'll find that that's really necessary as we move forward. You can actually go ahead and add that yourself right now if you'd like. The other thing we have are analytics. Analytics are actually looking at your agent execution and will help you be able to understand what's going on. But one of the most important things that you will need to get used to and navigate is the documentation. Documentation in Smith is embedded in everything you do. I will show that to you as we progress. But the agents that you build inside of Smith all have question marks in all sorts of places. If you use that question mark, it will take you to the very specific and highly relevant documentation for that. So for example, if you're in an LLM prompt or an LLM component, it will actually show you this help when you click on that little question mark button that you see right here. Okay, so
the vault keeps your API keys secure, a critical feature for working with various AI models and services. Mike goes on to discuss analytics and documentation, both essential for developing and maintaining your agents. Now, let's hear some real-world examples of how SmythOS can be applied in various industries.
So what I'd like you to do is, based on some of the the use cases that you saw here and some of the things that you work with on a day-to-day basis, I would like you to try and identify an agent that you could actually use to help improve your life, your business, your processes that you use at work. So for example, if you do research processes, you can use it to help with that. You can use it to help with all kinds of things. Now, we will learn more and more as we go forward, and in particular with integrations, you will find that it's not just about using an LLM, it's also about using external capabilities and integrating them into the LLM. All right, so with that, people, if you want to go ahead and bring up your cameras and your questions in the chat, we can go ahead and get started on that. So who would like to share your first idea for an agent that you would like to build? Try and keep things, by the way, I should say, you can start grand in terms of ideas, but then try and scale it back into something that you feel like you have the capability, depth of understanding that you could build it yourself.
For me, it would be generating content.
Generating content? Now, is that generating content for marketing purposes?
Yes, for social media marketing.
Documentation? What's that?
For social media marketing.
For social media marketing. Okay, so you specifically want to generate content for example, social media posting. So you probably want both images and text. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. And so can you think of a process that you use today to actually make that happen, that you could actually orchestrate and build an agent to do?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I use ChatGPT for some sort of ideas and stuff like that. So I guess I would be able to use SmythOS instead, right?
Yeah. So what you would do is, a lot of times you start in ChatGPT and you start with something and then you move to the next thing and use the content from the previous. SmythOS will allow you to automate that process and build it as a chain, as opposed to ask the first question, get the first content, ask the next question, get the next content. You can, as opposed to, you can absolutely still do that in ChatGPT, just takes a lot longer and it's much more manual, right? With SmythOS, you could start with a high level concept and drive it all the way through to a collection of posts that you can build.
Got it.
All right. Next person.
I have a prompt that works well in Claude, but not ChatGPT. So I was hoping to take this. It builds Asana tickets for a ticketing system, and it builds them out in a very specific way that allows people to just type or speak their natural thoughts, and it comes out in a perfectly organized Asana ticket. But I don't know how to integrate that with ChatGPT, and Claude does not allow me to share this prompt with other people. So a SmythOS bot that I have is somebody plays around or types something into ChatGPT, and then the Claude output comes out. You are muted, good sir. You are muted?
Sorry, you want to start with ChatGPT and then you want to move to Claude, or do you want to compare the two?
Oh no, I have the prompt and it won't work, and it doesn't work in ChatGPT. It works in Claude, but I can't share it in Claude. So I want to turn it into a GPT. I know you mentioned that was on Wednesday, but that was the major idea I'm coming with.
So you want to take the Claude prompt that you have and turn it into a GPT that you can then use in ChatGPT. Okay, great. All right, Gustavo.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. So one of the tasks that we do frequently is reporting, and we use to pull data from analytics and Search Console into Looker Studio. So I was wondering, I think that would be a good agent to build.
And specifically, what would you want to do with the data from, you said, Google Analytics and the Google Search Console? You
Yeah.
want to take that data. What is it that you would like to do with that data before you present it inside of Looker Studio?
So it's being able to pull the data actually from, from these platforms, analytics, because we do reporting, monthly reports for our clients. So it's being able to program the agent, in a way that it pulls the data that we need, and then, we are able to see it in Looker Studio.
Okay, so what you want to do is get the raw data and then kind of pull it down to the data that you need, and then go ahead and make that available or publish it in some way, shape, or form over into Looker Studio.
That is
So,
correct.
complex agent, definitely, that pulls from integrations. So for example, when you're pulling from Google Analytics or Google Search Console or any of the other integrations, you're actually pulling in data. That data is then presented and given to you as JSON. Then you can take and work with that JSON. You can even do, for example, summaries. So for example, if you have a lot of number data, you can do fun stuff with that. You can actually say, go ahead and give me the standard deviation and the mean for all of this data week by week, and it will actually look at that data and actually give you back a summarization of that data, and actually do some interesting things with that. You just have to be very, very careful, again, with making sure that you double check the calculations that it makes that have anything to do with math, because it might be giving you something that's a little bit fishy. So making sure that if you're going to do any type of analysis of the data, that requires that you have solid calculations, that you do the work there. All right.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
that's very, very doable. All right, Daniela.
Hey, Mike. So one of the things I would like to do is develop time tracking from one of the Google Forms we have that can notify HR and managers for approvals. Then once approved, places that time off information in the appropriate spaces. So for service delivery, Asana, or Google Calendars, so that the company is aware of who's off and when.
Wow, there was a lot there. You went from time tracking to notifications of calendar out of office. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so PTO or something like that, and then notifying people via email. We can even do fun stuff like you can send texts like,
Yeah.
hey, you need to. If it gets down to it's not approved and it's coming down to the wire, instead of just sending an email, you can then have a process that actually looks and then says, when it gets down to this and it's not approved, you go ahead and send a text to the manager by looking it up here and sending it there. Not a ton of LLM capability, but absolutely process orchestration capabilities there that Smith is very strong with. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniela. And we can even maybe try and do some of that to this week. Brett.
Yeah, Mike. So basically repurposing content from a single source. So there's a lot of, videos, webinars that were reported and are available and things like that. So that you can automatically, when it's done, you can then repurpose that for LinkedIn posts, for, convert it into a blog post, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, to a newsletter, to an email, and just basically automate all of that, because the source content's there. And if also, if it's, for example, a scientific discussion that's been had, go and pull citations, et cetera, as well, from reliable sources, academic sources.
Great. You can absolutely break that down into its individual steps and then orchestrate it with Smith. And then at times and places, you can then pull people in to kind of push that process along and move it along. So are there any developers, in particular enterprise developers, who have any thoughts or examples of things that they would use an LLM, and in particular an orchestrated LLM or orchestrated AI to solve some of their problems? I'm not seeing any hands. Anyone, I'll say, I'm just going to say it just because I'm that age. Bueller. Okay, can't help myself. So I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, Daniela, do you still have your hand up for another idea?
Sorry, thank you.
No problem. I'm going to go ahead and share one of the things that I have used an LLM for to solve a problem within an enterprise, and that was a company that was growing fast and trying to build a specific line of business, had data in enterprise systems across the board. Those systems all had their own content, an own part of an answer to a customer facing question. It's a really common issue within enterprises where how many people have tried to get service on the phone. You get on the phone and, oh, I'm sorry, you're not talking to the right person. I don't have access to that, that data or that screen. I can't answer that question for you. Well, when you take a look at LLMs and the capability we have with Smith and orchestration of that data, you can actually use LLMs to make the customer experience much better by, excuse me, you can take that content and make it available to a chatbot and then provide certain gates. For example, are you someone, who are you, and essentially what do you have access to? Are you a customer? And instead of asking them every time for the same thing, we can use SmythOS to actually store that in a data store and then pull that data out when they come back and interact with other workflows. So an agent is made up of a number of workflows. So in this particular concept or idea, what it would do is would look for example, a customer's orders. Where is my order? Well, it depends. Is your order in the sales system? Is it in CRM? Is it in the shipping system? Is it in the kind of the warehouse pick to order type of system? All these different systems may actually have the answer to your question, and all of them are the source of truth or a part of the answer to your question, even if your order is right on the truck about to be delivered to you. So in that setup, an LLM can actually take the data from all of those systems, integrate them, and be able to answer questions in a conversational manner without the customer having to know that they're having to go here or having to go there. Instead, it's like, well, what can you tell me about this order? What did you order? What was your shipping address? What was your, what's the order number? Or here's all the order numbers that you have. Which one are you actually interested in? Things like that. That can all happen interactively and conversationally, as opposed to having to go through a phone tree, which is a very brittle thing, right? Where you have to follow a kind of binary process. Instead, you can use an LLM or a chatbot to solve the problem of data silos and actually providing great customer service or access for employees to information and data as well. So that's one enterprise solution that I know of and we've actually built. I'm curious, can anybody else identify an enterprise problem and solution that you feel could come from SmythOS? Please do click that raise hands button. It's the little white button. Yep, Mario. Hey, I love your avatar. What is your enterprise issue or problem that you feel generative AI can help solve? So Mario, you do have mute on right now? There we
Hey.
go.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, we actually had one of those cases, and we already built it for a customer. They are in the wholesale business, and their internal client-facing sales guys, they receive a lot of emails with orders, and sometimes those orders can have, let's say, hundreds of positions. And we built a system, or we built an agent in addition to a small front end in Symfony, which which has access to the emails, reads the emails, extracts all the positions, and then creates an order from it, which the sales representative only has to approve, instead of typing it manually into the system. So this saves hours, or let's say days every day. And then they just have to press the button, and it goes into SAP, which is like Salesforce, let's say. And it just turns it into an order, and it has an option to have the customer can get an email to approve. In some cases, it's optional, but yeah, that really helped our client. Yes,
That's wonderful. So you're taking, essentially, customer just sends you, for lack of a better term, free-form data about what it is that they want.
Yeah.
And then the LLM actually looks up how that actually relates to your actual real products, and tries to identify quantities, and then provides essentially a draft order for the salesperson to or even send off to the customer to say, is this what you meant, sort of thing. That's wonderful and great help. I'm sure that saves hours and hours of customer time for people who get a lot of orders via email.
Yes, it's replaced, or it replaced. I know this is a sensible topic, but it replaced, or it is able to replace 6 guys there, and they have enough to do, so they are not losing their job. But they have enough other stuff to do. But 6 people were doing this, and now they are only like approving the orders, and not
I'm sure
typing them into the system anymore.
Good salespeople have very little interest in copy and paste. They'd much rather be spending time with people, understanding their needs, and helping them to fulfill them.
Those people where they are not like the people closing the deal. They are data entry guys, but they have enough other stuff to do.
As you listen to these examples, think about how SmythOS might solve problems in your own work or life. Remember, the power of SmythOS lies in its flexibility and your creativity in applying it. In our next video, we will take a tour of what makes SmythOS tick. Stay tuned and keep exploring the world of SmythOS.